So Chop Suey is a song from way back in 2001, I think. It starts with this 8-bar intro with the guitar, kind of like a metal. The crotchet's set at 130 beats per minute. The genre is metal, which is like very, very heavy rock. You can improvise on the crashes and splashes and whatever you want. I threw a few bass drums in there too, and then you got F for forte, and then you got floor 1, floor 2, floor 2, floor with the bass on the 1 2 3 4, 1 and 2 E and 3 E and 4 and 1 2 3 4 bars of that. Then it repeats, goes back to the dots, bounces back to the dots. You do 1, and then you don't do 1, you do 2 with the floor, bass and tom 2 or mid tom. 7 strokes of that, and then a flam bass, blum, and then crashed bass, snare, snare bass, bass snare, snare bass, bass snare. It's basically a 1 2 3 4, 1 2 3 4. It happens in a group of 4, so this 2 3 4 repeats again, 2 3 4, I'm pretty sure, but count that yourself because sometimes I'm wrong. And then you got snare with the bass, so you got 1 E, rest, 3 E Anna, 4 E Anna, 1 E, rest. And so this bar and this bar and this bar and this bar are the same bars, so except for the end here. 1 E, rest, bass snare, bass snare, bass snare, 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 with the bass on the and here. 1 E and 3 E Anna, 4 E Anna, 1. And then the hats and the metal is all, the crashes and the hats, which is the metal with your right stick, is all on the crotchet. 1 2 3 E4 and so the 2-line bass drum is a semi-quaver bass drum, so that bass drum is closer to that snare drum. Bass, snare, bass, bass, snare, bass. It's the same bar, isn't it? 1 2 3 4. 4 bars of the same stuff, except for this half of the bar you got a 3 and 4, and so bass, flam on the snare, tom 2, and then floor, and then you enter this groove here, which is pretty straightforward. Follow the vertical rule, just a crotchet there, 1 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. More of the same bar here, repeats essentially, except for the bass drum that's not on the 4 and 1. The same bar, except for this. So it's in groups of 4, and then you got a bit more of an embellishment with the basses. Bass, bass, snare, bass, 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 snare. Then those 2 bars reoccur for a few times, then into the next. So more of the same here. Crash, rest for a crotchet, rest for a minim, and then hat, hat, hat with the crotches, hat. And then you got 1 2 3 4. So you got bass, snare, bass, snare, bass, snare, bass, bass, snare. That bar repeats for another 2 times, and then you got the same second half of the bar here. Bass, snare, bass, bass, snare, bass, snare, bass, bass, snare. Crash and a fill, whatever fill you want, doesn't matter. All the way through here. Crash, dip it down to P, bring it up to loud, P being quiet. 1 2 E and 3 E and 4 E and same bar. Then you continue similar for another 2 bars. And then you're into more of the same that you did before with the crash, 2 and 3 and 4 and crash, 2 and 3 and 4 and same bar pretty much, just big crashes. I'm pretty sure I did most of this correct. There's a crash on the snare as well. Develop here, revisit some of the old ideas, and then your outro, which is pretty much like you did in the previous pages. Bass, bass, snare, bass, 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 snare with the crash, bass, bass, snare, bass. And then you triplet in the minim, 1 da da 3 4, crash bass, rest for a crotchet, rest for a minim, and this is how it sounds.
Chop Suey. 1 2 1 2 3 4.